Ciao Alfredo, come stai?
Ciao Esther Bunsta. Happy, what is it called here? Not Easter Sunday. It's Palm
Buona
Sunday
domenica,
in Sicily.
buona
Is it
domenica
Palm
della
Sunday?
Palma. Buona domenica
Yeah.
della Palma, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Buona domenica or a great day, whatever day you're watching. I'm in Boston. Alfred is in Sicily. And I miss you so much, Alfred. I'm looking forward to going back to Sicily very, very soon.
Yep. It's
So,
going to be in like 7 or 8 days. I believe. It's going to be a little over a week, maybe like 9 days.
So Alfred is going to do a little bit of show and tell in just a little bit, but I have to say that it warms my heart to see all the images, the videos, and pictures on social media showing that processions are back at it after 2 years. I saw the beautiful procession in downtown Catania, Vietnam, going to the Duomo, the main cathedral of Catania. So it was great to see, and a lot of you have asked, are festivals back in Sicily? And they sure are larger and better than ever. So that's great news.
This morning I was down to Artichokes. I like to go down there for Palm Sunday, and the place was packed. Now I learned my lesson 2 years ago that if I get there after 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to find a parking space. I learned that. If I get there at 1 minute past 10, forget about it. If I get there at 1 minute before 10, there's no problem. So this morning I got there at five minutes of 10, right? There was 15 parking spaces I could have parked. It was great. And
Good.
then within 1 second, the whole place was like just jam packed, Esther.
Well, down in
The
Acitrezza, there's, of
Lungomati, where
course,
all the kids were, there was motorbikes there, kids walking around. It was like, I haven't seen that for 2 years. It was
lots of
just
families.
great.
There's
It
mass
was
at 10
great.
o'clock, and then there's the organic garden down there, the organic market down there every Sunday. And Alfred, you found some stuff. Well, first of all, show me the palms you got, the handmade palms.
Okay, in front of the church of what's the name of that? San Giovanni
San,
Baptista, the
Gia-
church, Esther.
San Giovanni
Yeah. Okay.
Battista.
They had two guys selling, handmade palms. So I ended up getting about 6 or 7 of them. They're beautiful ones. They're
Beautiful.
bigger ones. Usually I keep one over here for the house, and then the rest I give away.
And just so
Show you
people
a couple
know,
more.
people make those, they're handmade. Uh, there's one woman that we usually get. Was the elderly woman there sitting on the little bench and selling those?
Esther, there was these two guys on either side of the church setting up tables, right? One guy weighed about 400 pounds, and the other guy weighed about 350 pounds. Okay. And I said to myself, oh, maybe these are from the handicapped. I don't know, maybe, to make money. So I says, I'm not going to go see the old lady that we normally go to. I'm going to buy a bunch over here. So I told the guy, I said, I want, how much are they? The guy, whatever he said to me, I says, give me $10, €10 worth. I didn't care. I just was going to make a donation. And he filled my bag up. I have a whole bunch of them. It's crazy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
I
I'm going to
love
give some
those.
to the neighbors. I'm going to give some to the neighbors after the show. I'm going to go around and, maybe they'll think I'm weird giving away palms or whatever, but I'm going to
Which one
do
did you
that.
get me? Which one did you get for me?
I got you the best one, in my opinion. I thought this would be a good one for you. What do you think?
Love it. Beautiful.
Yeah? Okay,
Those
so
must
I'm going to
take
leave
those
this.
must take at least a couple hours to make. They look so
Yeah,
intricate and beautiful.
this has got, if you look on the side there, it's two-sided one. Pretty interesting. One thing interesting about palms, Esther, that we ought to tell the people, you're not supposed to save them from year to year, which is surprising. You're supposed to take the old ones, but you're not supposed to throw them in the trash. the proper way to dispose of the old palms from years gone by, you have two choices. Either return them to the church where they bless them again and burn them and make them into ashes for Ash Wednesday for the following year, or you can burn them. So I've noticed here I have 3 of them left over from last year. So tomorrow I'm going to start the barbecue up. And before I cook the chicken on top of the barbecue and then maybe the steak, then I'm going to
rub it in.
yeah,
Thanks
right.
a lot. Sounds good. But
I'm
I
gonna
have
burn
to
the palm.
I have to tell you guys that Easter in particular, but also Christmas, Easter in particular, is such a beautiful, beautiful holiday in Sicily. It's a very religious holiday. Of course, there's a lot of candy involved and panettone, columba, which is Easter type of panettone. But it is a beautiful time of the year for celebrations, for church going, and also for markets, Alfred. And you went to the organic market, and I'm so envious. Show me what you got.
Well, I got 2 things. Really, they're not going to last until before you get here. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to eat them all myself. But I got 5 giant artichokes.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. My favorite. How are you going to
5,
cook it?
right?
How are you going to cook it?
Okay. I'm going to cook them the way my cousin Josephine cooked them when she was here a few years ago. I'm going to cook them on the stove top. The first thing I'm going to do tomorrow morning is, first thing I'm going to do tomorrow morning is I'm going to cut the bottom part off here, step 1. And then I take a scissors and I cut all these guys, make them square. And then I open this thing up. I open it up. And then I stuff them with a mixture of breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese grated, okay? Then I'm going to put them in a pan, and in the bottom of the pan, about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches or 3 inches, I place these guys, and you put them on the stove top with a top, and I throw in a couple of pieces of garlic in the water, and also some EVOO. And then, I let the steam cook them. Okay.
Now,
so that's how I'm going to cook it tomorrow.
So
the last time I did it that way, it was a complete flop. So
right.
I'm hoping.
So wait a second. First of all, I want to know how you guys make your stuffed artichokes. Now, let me tell you, one of my recipes that Alfred you didn't put in there is that I put chopped onion and I put lemons in the water, not garlic. Put lemons in the water, not garlic, and you put them all the way to the top because, of course, that evaporates, right? So you take the breadcrumbs, the Parmesan cheese, chopped onions, chopped garlic. That's perfect. Just like that. I'm very curious how that's going to taste. All right. What else did
and
you
then
get?
You're supposed to baste them. You're supposed to baste them every 15 minutes on the top to put them on top, as opposed to cooking them in the oven.
Well, if you have a cover on top, that keeps it moist. You don't have to keep watering it because if you keep the top on, that the water evaporates and that'll keep them nice and moist. But you got to keep an eye on them.
Okay, so you're suggesting that I put in the water EVOO and lemons? What do I do? Cut a lemon up?
That's what your cousin Josephine did.
And how many lemons should I cut up?
I don't think it makes a difference. But you know when it's ready, when you know when it's ready when they easily pop up. All right, what else did you get?
Okay, and I got this for you because I know that if the artichokes didn't get you jealous, this is going to get you jealous.
Oh my God. Scalora.
Scalora. Yes, so look how big this guy is. Okay, scalora. So I'm gonna make. I hope it lasts till like Tuesday because I'm gonna make it on Tuesday. And
what are you gonna make?
Stefania made a scalora kind of like spinach pie.
Scacciata.
Right? So I think I'm I think I'm going to go out and buy those things that you make your spinach pie with. And I'm going to take some of this, guys, and I'm going to make a scalota pie.
Well, I'm
Or
surprised you're not putting it in the
I'm going to
soup.
take out some of the sausage that's in the freezer, defrost it, and make myself, as my father used to say, a sandwich. A sandwich
That
of
sounds
sausage
good.
and scalota. One or the other. One or the other. So,
All right,
anyways,
we've
these are
got.
my show and tells.
I'm very envious. Very envious. All right, we've got people from all over the United States, also Australia and Italy joining us. Let us know
Bravo.
where you're watching from, and if you have any questions for us, we'll take some of your questions about Sicily, about traveling to Sicily. I'm very excited for us to start our May tour in a couple of weeks, but we still have some openings left. I mentioned earlier about festivals going on, and the Flower Festival in Noto is going to be going on the second week of May. That is such a beautiful event. So I'm looking forward to that. And just in general, after 2 years of not going to festivals, I'm really, really looking forward to that. The next one by us, near us, well, there's going to be um, April 25th is a celebration, right, Alfred?
When?
Libertà. April 25th is Giorno Libertà, but also San Giovanni Battista on June 24th. So lots of little festivals happening in Sicily this year that I'm
The Feast of St.
really forward.
Alfio on May 9-10.
Are they going to have that?
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to have it.
The Feast of
Great.
St. Alfio 9-10. And don't forget, there's also in June a big one up in Giardini. The San Giovanni Battista is all over the place, but I know that they have a huge one up in Giardini Noxus too. So for those of you that are going to be in the Taormina area around that one, that's a good one. That's excuse me for 1 second, but you mentioned the May trip. You ought to mention the June trip, because between the May and June trip, we've had 6 deferments till next year. Despite the fact that the COVID is like practically non-existent, and
Yeah. So in
despite
any
the
case,
fact that
Alfred.
it's perfectly safe in Sicily, there are several people whose family have a little bit wussy about coming here, so to speak, and they defer till next year. Wait, can I finish, please? Thank you.
Yeah, they have a right. So let's tell them about our June trip, which is on the west coast of Palermo, Monreale, Menfi, Sagesta, great places. And we're out of Castellamare del Golfo.
Well, that's really what I was going to say, is I'd like to get the people here, and we're going to give a $250 per person discount if you come. That's what I wanted to say, because we've already prepaid for a lot of stuff, and it would be nice to have a larger group. I don't care if there's a smaller group. We love smaller groups too. But since the stuff is prepaid, why don't you come take advantage of it? So if that means for a couple, you could save $500. So give Esther a call, and I know we have a big group in May, don't we? We have the group with Bob DeBasio and Breezy coming, right? And then we have a huge group again in September and then we have a bunch of smaller groups. But you going out to the West Coast is a great experience, okay? And it's a shame that some people don't want to come. So it's an opportunity for you who is thinking about coming. And I just bought my ticket this week from Boston. It cost me $800. I flew Delta. All right.
No, you
so
took
the
it
ticket
from
prices
Catania.
are not outrageous, huh?
Catania you're flying to Boston from Catania in end of June. But I have to say, some people have been asking us about October, and will we have an October tour? And we certainly will have an October tour. And we're working on the details for that. Alfred, Tony Patty says, lemons in the water keep the artichokes from turning black. Good tip.
Wait a minute, what did she say?
He said that the lemons in the water keep the artichokes from turning black. He said that's a good tip. Mike
Way to go, Esther.
You guys are making me hungry. My artichokes are just coming up, and I have a few months to go. Gotta add the lemons, Alfred. My
Don't worry. How
Costello,
many
how
lemons do you add? Will
dusty.
somebody please tell me? Like 2 lemons? Do I cut them up into halves, quarters, or what? Help.
A big shout out to Dusty Costello, uh, Mike Costello's wife.
Oh,
I'm thinking
yes.
about you and Peter Scipoletti. I hope you're doing better. So just a few shout outs to people that I know are having a little bit of hard times. We're sending you love. Lots of people here. All right, Alfred. Uh, Jody says she's had love escarole soup. My nonna made the best I ever tasted. Jody, how did she make it? I'm very curious about that.
Is that escarole?
Yep, scalora.
Yeah, I'm torn. I'm torn over making an escarole soup too. I love escarole any way at all. Even if you just get it and you just dunk your bread in the soup or water after you blanch it and put some garlic in it. Oh my God, it's great.
Frank
Hey, you know
says,
how much all this stuff costs? How
how
much do you
much?
think five artichokes with
Yeah,
the big stems, which of course you peel and you cook those too, and a huge thing of scalora. How much do you think I paid for all that stuff, Esther?
€5.
Nope, I paid €3.50. I paid €2.50 for five of these.
Yeah.
I know in the States they sell for like $2 or $3 each. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. All right, Frank, let me
They're a
get
lot
to
of money.
Mike says you should include Sagesta. Sagesta is in our tour. We are definitely going down there after we go to Salemi and some ricotta tasting. So Erice on this trip is not on there. Frank says, Al, can you comment on the chestnut tree that is supposed to be 3,000 years old? I'm intrigued. That tree is in the town of San Alfio. And Alfred, remember we went to visit it a few years ago. It is supposed to be the oldest, largest chestnut tree in the world, right?
Well, Esther, we did a video on it. I was after he sent me that message. I was looking for that B-roll, the video. I know we took B-roll there, correct?
We definitely did. And the story goes that some men that were fighting, if I recall correctly, rested under there, right?
Yeah, they call it the what do they call it? The tree of the
Chest,
100.
100 men.
Yeah, 100, something like that. The tree is ginormous. It's busy. They made a beautiful park out of it. And I remember parking. We parked, and it's a lovely walk to get into the place. And it was free. It doesn't cost any money. They have a beautiful restaurant there too, as I remember,
Yeah.
right, Esther?
And lots of
Sant'Alfio,
little.
and it's on the outskirts of Sant'Alfio, between Sant'Alfio and Zefferana della Etna. It's a great
Yeah.
place. And by the way, Esther, we should go back and we should do another piece on that.
For sure. There's great parking there, and there's a lot of little shops that sell all types of trinkets and food and so forth. And you can walk around. It is
Definitely.
very, now, I suggest people go, the chestnut season is around late September, October. So that's a great time that you can actually see what a chestnut looks like. And in Sicily, you get the whole chestnuts, but to see how the chestnut grows, and it's very interesting, and it grows inside of some kind of a shell that has pricklies in it, and when they're ready, they open up and the chestnuts fall. But it's so interesting to see people picking chestnuts. They go busloads up to Etna to pick the chestnuts, so that's a really great experience.
There's nothing like eating chestnuts, and you know that the fall is here when we go out and the roasters are all going on all the streets, Esther. You love it, and I love it. And I think they were €6 for a half kilo cooked, or €12 for a whole
For a
kilo,
kilo.
roasted.
Yeah.
The price. They went up a couple of euro. And by the way, I'm noticing a price creep here, E, on going to the market. Things that were like €2 are now €2.20. I mean, subtle, not spiking up, going crazy. Could I make a couple other? I have a couple other announcements.
Yeah, I know, honey. Let me just go through a few more. Richard, my grandmother was Vicini. She used to make the artichokes in covered pan like you do. My wife learned from her mom to boil them first until they're soft, then stuck them and put them in the oven. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, my
Very
mother used to
interesting.
put them in the oven too, but my grandmother used to put them on the stove top. And my cousin Josephine Leonard's, when her and her husband Jim came here, she cooked them like our grandmother did, and it brought me back in time. So that's why normally I put them in the oven and just baste them a couple times. But tomorrow I'm going
Yeah.
to try that. I wish I had somebody here that could volunteer and film me do this, because I'd like to see if I can get a video of. But I don't know how I can do it by myself, Esther.
We'll figure it out. Nana's World says your trip in the West Coast is amazing. You go to places that are not included in the typical tour bus tours. Nana, thank you for that, because we do try to go some off the beaten path sort of places. Of course, we'll have a wine tasting, but one of the unique ones that I mentioned is the ricotta tasting. So we do go to Salemi, so that's not a usual touristy thing. Of course, we're going to include the must-sees like Palermo, but Castellamare del Golfo is not exactly like a destination big. It's becoming more popular, but we love to put it on our tours because it's a great place to stay. So, Alfred, you have another story for us.
Okay, so I got a message on my WhatsApp. Now, as a general rule, I don't answer too many messages. I answer a few, especially on citizenship. People they write me letters that are 3 pages long, and then they ask me, and I know the tire kickers. So I learned a long time ago, I'm not going to answer them, okay? Especially off the internet. But this one I answered. Let me quickly read it to you. It says, I apologize if this is out of the blue. My name is Heather. I used to work for you in Nashua, New Hampshire, nearly 20 years ago. That was at my store, our store, called All Things to Singing on Route 1 in Nashua, New Hampshire. While I was working, a handsome Italian man came to the shop. He asked me for a date. And 1 year later, we got married. We are in Sicily now, right? To visit his grandmother's hometown with our son. Yesterday, it occurred to me that our family started at All Things to Singing, and now we are here. I felt such gratitude that I wanted to send you a message. Imagine that.
So
I sent her a message, and I said to her, what a great story. Tell me a little bit more about it. And she said, my name is Heather Ventresco. Heather Ventresco. My husband is Anthony Ventresco, and our son's name is David Ventresco. Anthony and I have been living in Germany for the past 6.5 years, and now we are moving back to New Hampshire. Our son lives in Boston. We decided to meet in Sicily before heading home, so David flew to meet us, and next week we will fly home together. But she really wanted to thank me and this is going out to all my former business partners for All Things to Singing after 2 decades.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine that?
That is awesome.
We influenced some, and we've influenced a lot of people, but this one over here kind of got to my heart because this one was one of our employees.
That's so
great
cool,
story, Harry.
Great story. And one of the things about going back to our tours that we found that a lot of people that come on our tours are complete strangers, and by the end of the tours, they're friends. In fact, we still have Union Sicily tour reunions all over the place. So that's so beautiful to see that. And the common denominator is Sicily, right? Because Sicily is where the answer is to all, right?
I noticed that more and more people at these reunions, and that are my friends and your friends, have been wearing the Yumi and Sicily regala, so to speak, whether it's hats, T-shirts, and all this other stuff. And we are having a big Easter clearance sale, I guess you could say it, especially on our men's and women's T-shirts. Right, Esther? What was the price that we said that we're going to be? $16.99.
$17.99. But show them your hat.
And that includes free shipping, right?
That includes the shipping as well.
We still have a pretty decent amount of them left. So please, now's the time to get them. Free shipping. And my daughter Jen, who's now back from Amsterdam, she'll ship them 2 days later. So they're in the States and they can go right out.
Yeah.
How's that, Esther?
Ed says 99 cents for Canadian each for artichokes. Here in the United States, it's far more. Wow. I think I saw like $2.99 or $3.99 for one, but they were huge. Tony says you can use the juice of 1 lemon or take half a lemon out, slices into 4 and add to water. So
slice it into 4, okay, and add it into the water. Gotcha.
4. Oh, okay. Nancy says in California we have Castroville, which is the artichoke capital, about 70 miles from where I live. And artichoke costs here at Bay are $3.99 each. That's exactly what I saw, for sure.
Castroville, I've been there. I actually went and toured the artichoke farm there. That was started by a Sicilian immigrant who brought seeds with him. The guy's name was Broccoli, if you can believe it. And also, they have a lot of broccoli, but Castroville is the epicenter of artichokes in the United States.
I mean artichokes.
Artichokes, right.
Nick says I steam them, stuff them, and finish them off in the oven. Artichokes are one of my favorites. Nick, they are my absolute favorites as well.
Oh my God.
I like them.
Esther can eat them Esther can eat them all the time.
I can eat them daily.
You do eat them all the time.
But, you know, the great thing is that it's very seasonal. So I'm thinking, what is it now? Mid-April. So probably another couple of weeks and then they'll be absolutely gone. And the way I like them is stuffed with parsley, garlic, drizzle it with olive oil, either put it in the oven or the way I like it is ready made, bought from the street vendors, right? That they cook them over coal. Oh, so good. Oh, and a little bit of hot pepper flakes as well.
I can't forget the lemon. Now, I don't want to seem stupid, but I am stupid. So I should not put the garlic in, and I should just put the EVOO and
the garlic goes inside the leaves. You chop up the garlic and you put it with the breadcrumbs and the cheese. And then you spread it around really nicely.
Not onions?
Onions, you could put chopped onions.
I think Stefania said she used onions. I'm not sure. I have to ask Stefania.
She did.
Huh?
She did.
Yeah. She made like Maria, 4 footballs. They were just huge.
Maria says the most beautiful volcano in the world is Italian. I agree 100%. Now here's someone who has been on several.
There are more than 2.
Here's someone who has been on several of our tours and is now a good friend and living in Librisi, Sicily, is Jody DeLuca. She says, I've been on 2 Yumi and Sicily tours, both East and West Coast. The friends I made then 2016 and 2017 remain close to this day. Those trips convinced me to retire in Sicily, which I did past September 23. High five to you, Jody DeLuca, sending you love. And, you know, what a courageous thing she did. Boy, I got your message, Jody. Send chills to me, too. And pretty soon we're going to have a major announcement about Jody. So that's very exciting, right?
I think I'm supposed to be meeting up with her and her relatives next week for Little Easter lunch or something.
Monday.
At Cafe Le Mans, right?
How did we forget the parsley? David Aliotti, of course. Chopped parsley. Don't forget the parsley, Alfred.
Oh, I'm not gonna. That's why I'm going to the Marchetto tomorrow. I'm gonna buy parsley. And you would suggest I put chopped garlic and not garlic powder, huh? My mom used to put garlic powder in.
So good with the.
There's so many variants. I get confused, huh? This is like a big thing for me. What?
It's so good with the garlic. Really, really adds something to it.
I mean, what kind of a man will I be if I, for example, am a complete failure at cooking artichokes tomorrow? I mean, I'm putting all this pressure on myself here.
Funny. I think I saw Mark Hill here as well. Good to see him as well. I'm going to get to see Mark. Here it is. Mark says, Buona Domenica. Mark is an author. He's written a book about Sicily, and I'm going to get to see him in Santa Margherita delle Bellice, and we're going to do a video episode about him, his ancestral home, and we're going to go to a vineyard and feature that area as well. So that's been another one of our fun projects to do, is the ancestral homes, where we go to your ancestral home, feature the people, the places, the history, and also meet up with family if you have any family there, or feature a business over there. Mike Costello is on this live, I think, still, him and Dusty, and we had so much fun to go over there to Isola delle Femmine, right? That was a great trip we had over there. We also went, what else? Monte Chiaro de Palma over in the province of Agrigento. We did Cianciana, lots of them, right? Lots of ancestral
Yeah, so you're
home
naming
sites.
all
So
these
that was,
places, and I'm thinking about all these wonderful people that we've met, and it's really a remarkable thing. And with me, this whole love affair with Sicily goes back to 2002, when myself and a merry group of people, we started the whole All Things Sicilian initiative. And we ended up opening 3 stores, and we ended up having a huge website. And lots of people who are watching this programming and have come on our tours, they have been connected with us almost 20 years now. It's just an amazing thing. It blows my mind, actually. I've gone from being a young, handsome guy to an old grumpy old man now. Gee, it's unbelievable.
no comment. No comment. Ciao. Alfred is making me hungry talking about artichokes. They're so good. Thank you, Esther, for mailing me the beautiful ceramic Trinacria pieces. I hung it up right away. That's awesome, Joanne. I'm hoping to have more stuff for you guys when Alfred goes back to the States in July. For sure, the silver Trinacrias, right?
I hope so.
Calerosso's farm stand here in Reading, Massachusetts have large artichokes on sale this weekend for $1 each. My wife is on her way to get it. Oh, well, that's good to know.
For $1 each?
For $1 each. All right. Alfred, you had one more story.
Wait a minute. I have a hot bit of news, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just chock full of news today, Esther. I'm like your junior news assistant now, hunting down the story for Bunsta.
All right,
but
tell
anyways,
me. Okay, breaking news.
This is a very
Catania
sad time for Catania. Wait a minute! Don't go interrupting my story.
Wait, I have
it
to
all
do
laid
the
out over here. This is like you giving it to the weatherman, and then all of a sudden you say it's going to rain tomorrow.
Oh, that's how I do it. That's how I used to do it.
You're not supposed to tease it.
Anyway. You have to tease it. Wait a sec. I got to tease it.
All right, tease it.
Breaking news. The hearts of the Catania people are breaking over Catania, Calcio Catania, no more. Gone. Catania football. What the heck happened? They've been together since 1929. What the heck happened?
Well, actually, it restarted in 1946. What happened was mismanagement. To make a long story short, and probably, I'm not sure, probably corruption along the line. The trouble started about 7 or 8 years ago when a coach and the owner and some players got into cahoots for throwing a game. They were betting on games and they threw a game, okay? So the Catania team got penalized and they got moved from Series A. They got moved from Series A to Series C, where they've been stuck in Series C. Now, who the heck wants to go in Series C? That's kind of like rinky-dink. So over time, the crowd started to go away as the money went away, and they got rid of course, this owner and all these other bad players. So back about this time last year, an American lawyer showed up and of Sicilian extraction and offered to buy the team, but they broke his chops way too much. He threw up his hands, and he went up and he bought another team up north. Okay, so now they had to go bankrupt. The proud Catania team went bankrupt. So about 2 months ago, another guy, a Roman, came forth and bought the team at the bankruptcy auction. However, he gave a deposit, and on Friday was the day he was supposed to pay the rest of the money. He didn't have it. So at 5 o'clock on Friday, the team officially went bankrupt. They had a game scheduled for today, canceled, and they're out. So if any of you has a few $1,000,000 hanging around and you would like to know or own a soccer team, or maybe you know somebody, get a hold of me and I'll hook you up with the right people. But there is no soccer.
Deal. It's a big deal. It's like,
it's heartbreaking.
It's like us not having the Patriots, us not having the Bruins. It's like a big deal. It's football. It's football. But I was interested to read, Alfred, that the whole game of football started when some British ships started landing in Sicily, and they started playing over there, and some of the locals were interested. So interesting. That was in the beginning of the 20th century. So very interesting how it really became such a big part of the Sicilian culture, of the Italian culture, the whole playing football. But of course, there's other big sports.
This goes on top of just a couple of weeks ago where the Italian national team failed to qualify for the World Cup. They got beat by I don't know who, East Drumstick, some stupid little country, beat them, and they're out. Italy is out of the World Cup. So it's just a bad situation right now for soccer. Men's soccer, that is. Women's soccer still does well. Women's volleyball does well. Baseball does well. But the soccer programs over here, and a lot of people play soccer, but the national team and the only pro team over here, bad. Even the guys from Palermo, the team from Palermo, who's their arch enemies, it's like the Yankees and the Red Sox, they sent their condolences.
It's a big deal. But, it's good to see all the other sports. There's a bunch of running. Giro Italia is going to be in Sicily. That's very exciting. They're going to be in Avola. They're going to be over there in, where else are they going to be? They're going to be ending in Messina. And then I think they're going to be in Etna for sure. So there's other great sports going on. But Giro Italia going through Sicily is always a fun event. Boy, watching those guys going up Etna, whoa, like that is crazy.
Esther, yesterday's La Sicilia, all right, had one page on the Ukrainian situation and 5 pages on soccer throughout Italy.
It's crazy.
Series A, B, C, D.
Well, on weekends they do.
Are glued to the TV. They don't care who's playing, okay, for soccer, okay?
Oh, for sure. It's the largest for sure.
It's the national psyche. The national psyche this morning is like down. It's crazy. We're going to have to, you and I are going to have to do a GoFundMe or something, E. What do you think about that idea? We'll do a GoFundMe. We'll start a soccer program.
For the soccer program?
We'll get Pele. Remember Pele, the guy from Brazil? Where is he from? Colombia, Brazil? I don't know.
Pele is whatever Brazilian.
His name is. We'll find a couple of guys like that. It's fun, right?
No thanks. All right, I want to know what you guys will be doing for Easter. I'm in Boston and looking forward to spending Easter here. But I have to tell you that it feels very different being here in the United States. Easter in general in Sicily is so much more religious, so much more, what's the word I'm looking for? I was talking to some of our friends, and they were asking me about my opinion about that, but it's definitely, you can feel that it's not as much of a religious holiday as it is in Italy.
Commercial.
For sure. it's much more commercial here. That's a good word. Much more commercial here than it is in Italy, where you have the beautiful processions going through many little towns. I do have to say that some parishes have opted not to have these processions, maybe next year, but it was good to see downtown Catania and the procession, Festa Domenica delle Palme. So that was very good. You know, Jody says traditions. Yeah, traditions are very well and alive. You know, in certain homes there are traditions, but the traditions in Sicily are there's a lot of community traditions, right, Al? Would you agree about that?
Today, for example, is Palm Sunday, okay? And driving down to Artichokes, I had to go down that windy hill by the cemetery. You know that cemetery? The thing
Yeah.
was packed on both sides of the road. I barely was able to get my car through there. People running to the cemetery to put flowers and stuff like that. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to do that. But here it is, 2022 or whatever the year is here, and that fervor of the people, the departed, is still existing. And man, you talk about a throwback to an old era in the States that's gone away, gone away. I wonder if my son or my daughter or some of my nieces and nephews can even find my father's grave. Maybe the last time that they went there was, years ago, or when I took them. It's not that they go there. It's just not part of it's not part of and I think that was my fault. Okay? I didn't say, come on, come with me all the time. And when I go home, I grab my daughter, Katie, the young one, and we go. But it's not part of the DNA that I instilled in my kids. And that's my bad. I feel terrible about that.
Well, that may change, Al. You know, that may change
Huh?
for sure. That may change. All right, I want to know what you guys want to know more about. So, Alfred, what are you going to do rest of the day?
I've been looking at these artichokes. Can I prep
Are
them
you?
today? I mean, I have to cut these things and I have to peel them, right? I have
I
to,
think I would
do I
wait.
have to go like this,
I think I would wait.
right?
I would wait. I would wait a little bit so they don't go brown. You can leave them out though.
I'm going to see if
No
I can
need.
get someone. If I'm going to do it tomorrow, then I'm going to take my, it's going to be a pain in my ass to do this, but I'm going to do it just for the hell of it. I want someone to film it. I want someone to film the damn thing. Maybe we can make a little 2 or 3 or 4 minute video out of it. Esther, that video that you did on the spinach pie a couple of weeks ago has
Hmm.
been making the rounds for views. I cannot get over how many views you got with that spinach
I've
pie
had
thing.
I've had a few people send their pictures and tell me that they made it. Joy said, "What I have found since my parents passed, traditions and family gatherings have slowly disappeared." That's so sad because it's such an important part of a culture. Traditions, the language, those commonalities really are what create a nation, a culture. So those are so important to keep. People are
Well, you
saying
know when
yes
it
to an
started, in
artichoke
my
video.
opinion? I think it started when they started to do the Easter egg hunts. Did you have Easter egg hunts in your house when you were a kid, or even coloring the Easter eggs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
yeah.
that, but
My
that
niece is
wasn't
coming.
that.
My niece is coming over and we're going to be painting eggs. That has always been part of the tradition. And of course, in Hungary, you have those beautiful flowers and intricate types of decorations. Let me see if I have one of those painted eggs. I think I actually have one in Sicily. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a
Oh,
beautiful tradition. Hmm?
well, all I know is that my grandfather, God rest his soul, Alfio, he used to make it a point to give us a silver dollar every Easter for me, for my brother, and my sister. And we would look at it. We would hey, look, that's nice. And then swoop, we, my grandmother would take it away from us. And then fast forward to when he died. Uh, my grandmother one day, I was in my 20s by that time. My grandmother came over one day and she handed me like 25 solid silver dollars. You know, the eagle ones that you
Yep.
can't even find anymore. Now they're made out of, I don't know what, copper or what. But that's what the tradition was in my family, giving silver dollars to people, to kids, especially your family.
Nick says,
Now,
as an FYI, I'm planning an extended trip to Sicily soon and have found that there are lots of vacancies in both hotels and Airbnbs. It really makes things much easier for me to plan accordingly. Good to know, Nick. That's interesting. There's one other person who was looking all over, and he said that he was surprised. He's coming in the beginning of May. He was surprised that it was very booked. So very interesting.
well,
Chris
Esther,
says,
there's a lot
Esther,
of people. There's a lot of people that have an indelible fear in their mind because of the COVID. It's simple, okay? 2 years people were cooped up, all right? And then as
yeah,
soon as they stuck their head up, like a guacamole, they stick their head up. Now there's a threat of a European war, okay? So I can understand that. And don't think that it's just, germane to Sicily. Rome is suffering. They have about 40% vacancy rates right now. Okay?
yeah.
A lot of the restaurants that we know and love, they can't open up. And if it's not because of the COVID or because of the fear, it's because they can't find workers.
I think
That's
that's the
another
bigger
huge
deal.
issue.
That's a huge issue in Sicily that they can't find the workers for a
Yeah.
number of reasons. For a number of reasons. One of the reasons is a lot of people have left again, emigrated from Sicily. Also, a lot of people are just now, used to getting the check from the government. So it's a very difficult period for sure. Our pizzeria that we go to all the time had half the restaurant closed a few weeks ago because they couldn't find the help. So it's certainly a big
That's just
issue.
amazing.
All right.
And there's a huge shortage of pizza makers. You know what they're doing right now? They're advertising for pizza
Mm,
makers. You know where, E? In Egypt. They're bringing pizza makers over from Egypt because a lot of the Italian young kids don't want to be pizza makers. Listen to what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's crazy, right?
All right. On that note, honey, do you have anything else to add? Anything? And
Yeah,
do
I
you
have
guys
I
want
have
to
one
know?
more hot story to talk about.
Go ahead.
All right. You may have not heard about this, but there was a huge uh, criminal investigation that ended up in a huge arrest for a very large wine vineyard company on the West Coast around Artichoke. Okay?
In the
Listen
province
to
of
this.
Palermo.
And this wasn't a little mom and pop place. This was a place that was blowing out 2 million liters of wine a year. They were, and they got caught, they were making phony wine using sugar, water, beet juice, and they had people paid off to put the DOP denomination on the label.
Crazy.
Imagine that. So it made the front page, and of course, they investigated it, and they closed them down, and they seized about 150,000 bottles in production, a couple of million that were in storage, and all the company's money and property. Okay, that's the last thing you want to have happen. Is a major industry like the wine industry having these dastards, as they call them,
It's too bad
mafiosi.
one place, one
Oh my
company gives a
God!
bad name. Peter said, I
Yep.
just got a text picture from my niece Kathleen of palm frost that she made. My nonna taught me, and I taught my kids and nieces and nephews years ago. It warms my heart. Peter, that warms my heart. That is beautiful. It's all about tradition. I'm looking forward to painting eggs with my niece, a tradition that has been passed along to me from my mom and my grandmother. So that's a beautiful thing. On that
I
note,
have
I
one
want to
last
say,
one last thing to say before we say so long for now, Esther. Okay. Uh, And I think this is something that most of you folks should do. I think it would make you feel good. But do you have your old daily missal hanging around your house? Or do you have a Bible or maybe another New Testament book? This week, you ought to read The Passion of the Christ. Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday,
It's a
and Sunday,
beautiful
5 days.
read.
A year doesn't go by where I don't sit on my deck and I read it. This is the week that I read it. I read the four apostles, and I think about it. And if I can make a church on Friday from 12 to 3, I go to a church, and to reflect upon the importance of Christianity to our cultural background, to the Sicilian Americans and the Sicilian people here. This is a holy week.
For
It's a holy
sure.
week, Esther. And that's why they call it Holy Week. So I want to ask you, have you thought about it? And if you haven't, maybe you ought to. And that's
It's a
what I wanted to
beautiful,
say.
it's a beautiful tradition that we have, Alfred and I do every year. So that's great
Yes, it
advice.
is. It is.
My
And I'm a
friend,
very lucky
thank
guy to
you.
have a woman who has the same cultural background that I do. Even though she's Hungarian, it's almost identical. And it's just a great thing to do when I don't have to explain myself why I want to do it. It's just part of our DNA and it's part of the Hungarian DNA as well, why we will do it. So I want to say goodbye to you today.
My friend, thank you for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like and share it with a friend. And I'm truly, truly, truly humbled and thank you for taking your time to spend with us. Have a great, great Sunday, and we hope to see you on Wednesday on another episode of You, Me, and Sicily. Ciao, honey. Arrivederci, everyone.
Sidenediga.
Make it a
Love you,
great week,
everybody.
everyone.
Ciao, ciao.